everybody. So I have a couple questions for you today. Have you ever thought of your scars as being beautiful? And even further than that, have you ever thought of your scars as being beautiful reminders that you survived something? Well, today I just want to share a quick story with you, and then I want to share just a couple thoughts that I have around the topic of scars and wounds. So stick with me for a couple minutes. I won't be before you long. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a flight attendant and I love my job because I'm always getting to meet new people. It's a really fun job and I love it. And one interesting thing that people don't really realize about the job is that every time I start a new trip, I have a new crew. A lot of times people think that we work with the same people all the time, but we don't. We work with different people. So one of the first things that we do as a crew when we're starting out a trip, we're starting our first flight, is that we introduce ourselves to each other. And there's one trip that I will never forget because I was just starting out as a flight attendant, just kind of getting in the groove of things, and I went up and I was introducing myself to the crew and they were introducing themselves, and it's like immediately after the introductions were done, one of the ladies on the crew pointed out the scar on my face. I don't know if you can see it. Well, I'm sure you can't see it right there. She pointed out that scar on my face and she said, "What happened?" And it kind of caught me off guard a little bit because a lot of times that's really not the first thing that people see or point out to me. So it kind of caught me off guard a little bit, but I don't mind telling people what happened. So I proceeded to tell her that my mother and I got into a terrible car accident years ago, and just told her the story about what happened. And when I was finished telling her the story, she said, "Wow," she was like, "I think scars are beautiful. I love getting the story behind people's scars because scars mean you survived something." And it just took me a minute to kind of process that, because before this encounter, I had never thought of my scars being something beautiful. And so as years have gone by and, I'm becoming a more introspective person than I have been in the past, I began to think about how not only are our external scars beautiful indicators that we survived something, but that can apply to our internal scars as well. So just a few days ago, I was thinking about, I recalled that story of me meeting this woman who shared with me how beautiful my scar was. And I imagined if I took my heart out, what would my heart look like as far as scars? What would my heart look like as far as wounds? And I began to think about it and ponder. Is it scarred or is it wounded? Because if we're talking about scars, that means that there's been some work done for a wound to be healed, right? So if we take a cut, for instance, just a little cut, or maybe a deeper cut, in order for the cut not to get infected, you must treat it. So that's when we take some alcohol or some peroxide or something. We clean it really well, make sure it's cleaned, and then we might dab it a little bit and put some pressure on it. We might take some ointment, some healing cream, maybe like a Neosporin or something, and then put a bandage on it and leave the bandage on for a few days, then take the bandage off and let the wound breathe a little bit. So we do the physical work to make sure that our external scars or our external wounds are being healed. But a lot of times we don't do that. We don't pay that attention to our hearts, to our emotional wounds, to our emotional stresses that we experience in life, right? So think with me, imagine with me for a moment your heart. Visualize with me your personal heart. Take it out, look at it, and visualize. Do I have scars? Emotional scars, meaning that yes, I was hurt, yes, I was wounded, but I've done the work to make it a healed situation. Have I done the physical work, or do I still have open wounds? Are there things that I have maybe not paid attention to? Maybe they've gotten infected because I didn't do the work to make sure that they were healed. Visualize with me just for a moment. And then my challenge to you this week is to really focus on that. Focus on whether or not you have the scars or the wounds. And if you do have wounds, I want you to take some time to do some physical work toward getting that thing healed. If that means going to see a counselor, or maybe signing up for some life coaching, a mentorship, or it could even mean finding a local support group or Bible study that focuses its attention on the healing of whatever that particular area of wounding that you may have experienced. Whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that you are healing, working toward the healing of that wound, that's what we want to do. Because we want to turn that wound into a scar that's going to be your simple reminder and indicator and sign that you survived, that you are a survivor. So be healed, be blessed, and continue to survive and thrive on your Unique by Design journey. I'm rooting for you.